What if I told you there are over 3,000 ETFs you can invest in today? It sounds pretty exciting, right? Or maybe it's a bit overwhelming. It's kind of like walking into a bookstore with thousands of titles and you have no idea which one's going to change your life. How will you know which ETF will be the best for you without taking a Series 7, becoming a financial advisor, becoming a financial guru? How do you know? How do you do this yourself? That's what this video is about. By the end of this video, you're going to know 3 steps to find ETFs that actually make sense. Now, on top of all this, I'm going to show you a tool that I developed that's going to help do the heavy lifting for you. No more Google Sheets, no more Excel, no more tons of spreadsheets all open at the same time, trying to figure out all these data, all this number. No more of that. This thing is going to do all the heavy lifting. It's going to be, in my opinion, a very, very helpful tool that you could potentially use to compare ETFs. When I was in my 20s, I had this amazing apartment. Stained concrete floors, exposed ceilings. I had this black leather couch, and in front of this black leather couch, I had a giant abstract painting. Now, people would come over, my friends would sit there on my black leather couch, they'd look up at this thing, and I swear every single person saw something different in this abstract piece of art. When I looked at it, I saw a man holding a baby. My friend looked at it, he swears there's a demon in this thing. I had another friend, he saw a goat. You can look at this painting and see so many different interpretations of it. ETFs are no different. Dan, the growth investor, looks at an ETF and he sees high growth and he doesn't care about some other factors that Kim might care about when she looks at that same ETF and says, hey, this ETF has too high of an expense ratio and I'm not getting enough dividends out of this thing. One ETF, 2 different interpretations. So before we even start comparing ETFs to each other, we need to figure out what shapes us. We need to understand the styles of investing that we want to invest in. So step 1, think about car shopping. You wouldn't take an environmentalist to a car lot that's filled with diesel trucks. You'd probably take them maybe to a lot that has a bunch of hybrids or a bunch of electric vehicles. ETFs are the same way. You need to pick the dealership first. Is it passive investing in a broad market? Is it growth investing? Is it income-driven investing? What is it? Once you figure out your style, you'll filter out like 90% of the noise. So step 2. Here's where investors often trip up. They will focus on one single thing, one single metric. It might be the expense ratio, it might be the rate of return, maybe the 10-year rate of return or the return since inception of the ETF. They often get sidetracked by this one thing. But the truth is, one metric doesn't ever tell the whole story. In this tool that I've created, I'm actually using 8 different metrics. So instead of me actually looking through each of these metrics, I created a ranking system. The app, it helps rank the ETFs. I will tell you that it includes the expense ratio, the yield, the dividend growth rate over 5 years. It includes the performance of the fund. It includes the volatility. It includes the drawdown, or in other words, what's the largest from peak to trough drawdown over a certain period of time. Or another way to say that is, if you looked at 5 years, what's the most that it dropped in that 5-year period. I also look at the size of the fund and the number of holdings. Those are just the factors that I'm looking at in what I have right now. That actually might change. I've been updating this tool very often, but currently that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. We're going to enter SCHD and SCHB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the 2 ETFs that I just talked about, SCHD and SCHB. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a style. Now I'm going to click growth. So let's say you're a growth investor. So which ETF might be a better choice for someone who's a growth investor? So that's what this ETF compare tool is going to help us figure out. So I hit compare, and here I have my rankings. So it has number 1 ranked as SCHB, the Schwab US Broad Market ETF, and it ranks number 2 as SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. So someone who is more of a growth investor, they might be more geared towards having this SCHB ETF than SCHD. But what if you're not a growth investor? What if you're a more dividend-focused investor? So we're going to hit income here, and we're going to see what happens. So now if you're more into income, if you care more about income than growth, then SCHD is going to be a better option for you according to this tool. Step 3 here is being relative and not absolute. So this tool I built, it doesn't say what is the best ETF out there. It's not like what is the best ETF that every single person should be investing in. This is a tool that takes ETFs that you decide that you might be interested in, and it compares them relative to each other. Another way to say that is, of the ETFs that you pick, how do they stack up? So again, when you compare SCHD to SCHB as a growth investor, SCHB is going to win. And that's because if you look at the growth of the two, and one thing you can do is say, okay, what does $10,000 grow to over certain amounts of time? So over 3 years, $10,000 would have grown to $16,000-ish with SCHB. With SCHD, it's $12,651. Just over $19,000 versus just over $17,000 for 5-year growth, and for 10-year growth, $36,000-ish versus $31,000. So the returns are better with SCHB versus SCHD. And then we also have a snapshot that shows us a bunch of different metrics that we can look at. One of the things I do like to see here is these risk metrics over here, which is volatility, and then the max drawdown, which I need to change some of the formatting here. This is a beta version, by the way, so I will be making updates. As you can see, the volatility of SCHB is higher than the volatility of SCHD. As a growth investor, you might not care that much if it's more volatile, because you really care about getting higher returns and taking more risk to get those returns. Now, if you take a look at the drawdowns aren't that much different. This goes back to October 20th of 2011, and the largest drawdown since then over that time period was SCHD at negative 33%. SCHB's was negative 35%. So they both had very large drawdowns over that time period. Then you have a score breakdown, which does give you some information about which of the scores that we have and how they are comparatively. And so going back to this whole thing on step 3, it's about comparing them relative to each other. In other words, context matters. If you compared a high-end sports car to a minivan, they're both great cars for different people and different needs. Someone who has a family, they might care more about just having the space than having a 2-seater that you can't even put a car seat into. So which of these ETFs do you think wins? Why don't you leave a little comment, tell me your style of investing and which one you actually like. And by the way, this tool is free, so if you want access to it, there's a link below. Go ahead, click on that, and you can get access to this thing for free. Come back here, comment below, give me some feedback on it if you want to. Let me know what you think about the tool. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to join my email list that I'm literally just rolling out in this video now, there's also a link below. I'll be giving you updates about a bunch of new tools that I'm developing. I'll give you updates on my ideas, my thoughts about what's going on right now with investing, education. Very exciting new things going on this channel. So now I'm going to go work on some more stuff, some more tools that hopefully will benefit you. Thanks for watching.